Imagine a world untouched by the whispers of modern life, where vast expanses of untamed forests merge seamlessly with endless savannas. Picture the first rays of dawn stretching over the horizon, casting long shadows across a land where survival is not a guarantee, but a relentless pursuit. This is the Earth 3.8 million years ago, a time when the earliest humans, small, agile, and remarkably resourceful, emerged into an environment that was both breathtaking and unforgiving. Can you picture walking alongside them, feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin as predators watch silently from the underbrush? Early humans, our distant ancestors, were far more than mere wanderers in this primordial landscape. Each day was a test of intuition, strength, and ingenuity. Unlike today, survival depended entirely on understanding the rhythms of the land, the seasonal migrations of prey, the ripening cycles of fruits, and the hidden treasures that lay beneath the soil. Every step taken, every branch snapped for shelter, and every stone chosen for a tool could mean the difference between life and death. Their journey was not solitary. Even at this early stage, there was the unmistakable spark of social cohesion. Groups huddled together, sharing knowledge and resources, learning the intricate balance between cooperation and competition. Imagine the first flickers of communication, simple gestures, vocalizations, and shared glances conveying crucial messages about food, danger, or the discovery of a water source. This silent, unrecorded language was the foundation of human connection, laying the groundwork for the complex societies that would emerge millions of years later. What did it feel like to hunt or gather in a world where every creature could be a predator and every fruit a rare boon? How did they strategize, improvise, and adapt to an environment that demanded constant vigilance? These early humans, resilient and inventive, navigated a landscape of immense beauty and peril, demonstrating an intelligence that was as practical as it was remarkable. Their survival strategies were the blueprints for evolution itself, carving paths that would eventually lead to the sophisticated behaviors we recognize in humans today. Before we venture deeper into their daily lives and ingenious adaptations, take a moment to reflect. The same spark of curiosity, resilience, and creativity that drove them to survive in the wilderness is the very essence of what it means to be human. If you're captivated by the story of our earliest ancestors, don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments below. How do you imagine stepping into their world? Step into a world sculpted by wind, water, and time, a realm that predates any trace of human civilization. The landscape of 3.8 million years ago was a mosaic of dense forests, sprawling grasslands, and winding rivers that carved their way through ancient terrains. Imagine standing on the edge of a savanna, where the golden grasses ripple under the gentle caress of the wind, while in the distance, forests stretch like emerald oceans, concealing both sustenance and danger. This was a land of contrasts, where fertile grounds promised nourishment but also teemed with predators lurking in the shadows. The climate was unpredictable, yet mercifully mild compared to the extremes of later ice ages. Rainfall patterns dictated the rhythm of life, determining when rivers swelled and when vegetation flourished. Seasonal cycles were etched into every aspect of the environment, shaping the migrations of animals and the availability of fruits, tubers, and edible plants. In this delicate balance, early humans had to read the cues of the land, understanding when to move, where to forage, and how to exploit the offerings of nature without exhausting them. Forests were both a sanctuary and a challenge. Towering trees offered shelter and food, with fruits dangling just out of reach, roots hiding, edible tubers and fallen branches becoming tools or weapons. Yet the canopy also hid predators, leopards and large cats that prowled silently, testing the vigilance of any creature daring enough to traverse beneath. In contrast, the open grasslands revealed prey over long distances, allowing humans to plan and strategize hunting or scavenging excursions. Herds of antelopes and other ungulates roamed freely, providing a vital food source but requiring careful observation, patience, and coordination to capture. Waterways were lifelines threading through this primordial world. Rivers and lakes not only quenched thirst, but also attracted game, forming natural gathering points and opportunities for early humans to observe animal behavior. Muddy banks and reed-laden shores were hunting grounds, fishing spots, and temporary campsites, offering resources and protection in equal measure. The interplay between land and water created a dynamic ecosystem where survival demanded constant adaptation and ingenuity. In this world, every element, forest, grassland, river, was a puzzle and a guide. Early humans had to integrate their understanding of terrain, climate, and animal behavior, forming a deep intuitive knowledge of their surroundings. Their survival depended not just on brute strength, but on foresight, observation, and the capacity to learn from every encounter. Step closer and peer into the world of our earliest ancestors, the Australopithecus, small in stature, but vast in evolutionary significance. These hominins were the pioneering figures of human history, navigating a landscape that was as treacherous as it was fertile. Standing barely over 4 feet tall, their bodies were a remarkable fusion of agility and endurance, perfectly adapted for a life spent climbing trees, yet increasingly walking upright across open savannas. Imagine the dexterity in their hands, the fingers capable of grasping branches, picking fruits, and eventually manipulating. Rudimentary tools. Their brains were modest in size, roughly a third of ours, yet sufficient to solve the problems of daily survival, selecting ripe fruits, tracking herds, or avoiding predators. Intelligence at this stage was practical, honed by necessity rather than abstract thought, a testament to nature's insistence on adaptability. Australopithecus were not uniform. Their species varied across regions, each adapting subtly to its own environment. Some roamed the woodlands, their lean frames ideal for climbing and foraging among the trees. Others embraced the savanna, learning to spot prey and predators across the open plains, developing strategies that would lay the groundwork for hunting and social cooperation. Their lives were a delicate dance between arboreal refuge and terrestrial exploration, constantly negotiating the risks and rewards of their dual habitats. Diet was diverse and opportunistic. Fruits, nuts, roots, and tubers formed the core of their sustenance, but evidence suggests they also scavenged meat when available, demonstrating early signs of dietary flexibility that would prove essential in harsher climates. Every meal required observation, planning, and sometimes boldness, a keen understanding of the environment paired with the courage to act. Beyond survival, their daily existence was shaped by social interaction. Small groups likely shared food, protected one another, and passed knowledge silently through imitation and observation. The seeds of communication were sown here in glances, gestures, and calls that conveyed danger, discovery, or opportunity. This foundation of collaboration and shared awareness would become one of humanity's defining traits. As we explore the lives of these remarkable beings, consider the paradox. Their small brains, humble stature, and primitive tools belied a profound resilience and intelligence. Australopithecus were explorers of both the land and of survival itself, laying the earliest chapters in the story that would one day lead to us. Life for Australopithecus was a continuous negotiation with the world around them. Each day began with the sun's first light spilling over the savanna, signaling both opportunity and danger. Imagine them emerging from the safety of forested areas, eyes scanning for predators, ears attuned to the rustle of leaves that might betray the presence of a lurking lion or hyena. Survival demanded vigilance, yet the reward for careful observation was plentiful. Edible fruits dangling from branches, tubers hidden beneath the soil, and small animals that could be captured with patience and clever strategy. Foraging was an art. Early humans learned to identify seasonal fruits and nuts, understanding which plants were ripe and which parts were safe to eat. They dug for roots and tubers with sticks or their hands, uncovering a nutrient-rich bounty that sustained their groups. Scavenging meat from carcasses was equally strategic. They had to approach carefully, aware of larger predators that could reclaim their find. Every decision required a delicate balance between risk and reward, an instinctive intelligence honed over countless generations. Hunting was not yet sophisticated, but it was effective in its simplicity. Small prey, such as birds, rodents, and insects, were captured with tools fashioned from stones or sticks. Group coordination may have played a role even at this early stage, one Australopithecus startling prey while another seized it, a silent collaboration born of necessity. These moments, seemingly ordinary, reflect the ingenuity that would define human survival for millennia. Safety in numbers was key. Social groups allowed them to share knowledge about food sources, warn each other of danger, and care for the vulnerable. The early forms of communication, through gestures and vocalizations, strengthened these bonds. Imagine a group foraging together, each member contributing to the collective success, while staying alert to threats. This cooperation increased their survival odds significantly, a lesson that evolution would favor repeatedly. Every day was also a learning experience. The landscape taught lessons in observation, patience, and adaptability. Understanding which plants were edible, when to flee from predators, and how to exploit natural resources required not just intelligence, but memory and foresight. These survival strategies were passed silently from one individual to another, creating a cultural thread that connected generations. As we witness these remarkable behaviors, it's worth pausing to consider the ingenuity, cooperation, and adaptability of Australopithecus laid the foundation for all that humanity would achieve. Their daily life, simple yet profound, is a testament to the power of survival and the subtle genius of our earliest ancestors. If you're intrigued by how they navigated these challenges, comment below with your thoughts on which survival strategy you find the most impressive. In the hands of Australopithecus, the simplest objects became instruments of survival. Stones, sticks, and bones, mundane remnants of the environment, were transformed into tools that extended their reach, enhanced their strength, and sharpened their ability to exploit the world around them. This was the beginning of technology, not as a concept, but as a practical response to necessity, a silent yet profound demonstration of ingenuity. Stone tools were their first masterpieces. Some were rudimentary, chosen for their shape and weight, used to crack nuts, dig for roots, or scrape hides. Others were carefully struck to produce sharper edges, capable of slicing meat or processing plant materials. Each tool was a reflection of observation and experimentation, a tangible record of problem-solving that left its mark on both survival and evolution. Imagine an Australopithecus examining a jagged rock, feeling its edges with practiced hands, intuitively. Understanding how it could alter the course of their day, this was intelligence in its rawest, most applied form. Wooden implements complemented stone. Sticks were used for digging, probing holes, or even as rudimentary spears. They were lightweight, versatile, and essential for tasks that demanded more reach or leverage. Over time, these tools would evolve, their designs refined through trial and error, as the demands of survival pressed ingenuity into every action. Each tool was not just an object. It was an extension of the mind, translating thought into action in a world where failure often meant death. The creation and use of tools also had social implications. Knowledge about crafting and employing these implements could be shared within groups, allowing more individuals to benefit from successful designs. Even in the absence of formal teaching, imitation and observation ensured that survival skills proliferated, passing from one generation to the next. This exchange of knowledge marked the earliest stirrings of culture, a phenomenon deeply intertwined with technology and survival. Perhaps most striking is the foresight involved. Using a stone to crack a nut or a stick to dig tubers required planning, precision, and understanding of cause and effect. Early humans were not merely reacting to their environment, they were shaping it, bending natural objects to their will, and in the process, carving the path toward future innovation. Their tools were humble, beginnings, yet they represented a cognitive leap, a first tangible step toward the technological world that humanity would one day inhabit. The story of these tools reminds us that ingenuity often arises from necessity. The first instruments, crude and unassuming, were the foundation upon which countless generations of human innovation would be built. They are a testament to the resourcefulness and creativity that define the human experience. Beyond survival, the story of Australopithecus is also a story of connection. Life in a dangerous, unpredictable world demanded more than strength or intelligence. It required collaboration. Early humans likely lived in small, tight-knit groups, where cooperation was essential to protect one another, locate food, and navigate the challenges of their environment. These groups formed the earliest social networks, a web of interdependence that would become a hallmark of humanity. Picture a cluster of individuals moving together through the forest edge, each aware of the other's presence. They forage collectively, sharing the spoils of a fruitful find, or alerting each other to the hidden threat of a stalking predator. These behaviors were more than instinct. They were the foundation of social learning, an exchange of knowledge and strategies that enhanced survival. In this shared life, individuals learned to read subtle cues, gestures, vocalizations, expressions, crafting a silent language that communicated warnings, opportunities, or reassurance. The hierarchy within these groups was likely fluid, shaped by experience, strength, and intelligence. Leadership may have been situational, a skilled forager guiding the group to food, or a vigilant member alerting others to danger. Cooperation was not just about sharing resources. It was about mutual survival. Even the vulnerable, juveniles, elders, or the injured, were likely supported, recognizing that the strength of the group depended on the well-being of all its members. Social. Bonds extended beyond mere practicality. These early humans probably experienced emotional connections, trust, attachment, and even rudimentary empathy. Caring for one another, sharing knowledge, and working collectively allowed them to accomplish what would have been impossible alone. This interplay of cooperation and emotional awareness created a social structure that was adaptive, resilient, and deeply influential on evolutionary success. The interactions within these groups also set the stage for culture. Knowledge about tool use, foraging, and predator avoidance was transmitted not only through observation, but through participation in communal life. These early networks were the crucibles where human intelligence and social behavior co-evolved, each reinforcing the other in a delicate, interdependent dance. In observing Australopithecus in their social context, we glimpse the essence of humanity, the ability to cooperate, communicate, and care for one another, even in the harshest of worlds. Their social structures were not just survival strategies. They were the beginnings of what it means to live collectively as humans. The world of Australopithecus was as beautiful as it was perilous. Beneath the golden grasses and within the dense forests, danger lurked in every shadow. Lions, leopards, hyenas, and crocodiles patrolled their territories, testing the vigilance and cunning of our earliest ancestors. Each day was a delicate balance between seizing the bounty of the land and avoiding becoming it. Imagine the tension of moving quietly through the underbrush, every rustle of leaves raising the possibility of a predator's presence, a reality that demanded constant awareness and quick reflexes. Predators were not merely threats. They were catalysts for innovation and cooperation. The ever-present danger forced early humans to develop strategies to outsmart, evade, or even confront these deadly hunters. Groups relied on alarm calls, coordinated movements, and keen observation to anticipate attacks. An Australopithecus who could spot subtle signs of a stalking leopard, broken twigs, displaced grasses, or distant shadows, might save not only themselves but their entire group. Survival was a shared responsibility, an exercise in vigilance and intelligence. Beyond the obvious dangers of large carnivores, the environment itself posed hidden threats. Swollen rivers could sweep away the unwary, thorny vegetation could injure the careless, and sudden storms could turn familiar landscapes into treacherous terrain. Even insects and parasites were constant companions, testing endurance and resilience. Every encounter with these hazards strengthened their capacity to adapt, turning adversity into a silent teacher of survival skills. Yet, predators and dangers also shaped early humans in profound ways. The need to evade threats likely accelerated cognitive development, fostered social cohesion, and promoted the refinement of tools and strategies. Fear, when harnessed wisely, became a driver of creativity, planning, and communication. Each narrow escape was not just survival, it was a lesson etched into memory, enhancing the group's collective knowledge. As we reflect on this relentless struggle, consider the courage and ingenuity required to thrive in such a world. The early humans' awareness of predators, their ability to cooperate, and their skill in anticipating danger reveal an intelligence both practical and profound. The harshness of the environment did more than challenge them. It forged the resilience that would carry forward through millions of years of evolution. If you find the strategies these early humans used to survive predators fascinating, share your thoughts in the comments below. What would you have done differently in their place? Life 3.8 million years ago was dictated by the rhythm of the seasons. Early humans had no calendars, no clocks, and no artificial shelters. Instead, they relied on observation, memory, and instinct to navigate the changing world around them. The shifting availability of food, water, and shelter demanded adaptability. Survival was a continuous exercise in predicting nature's next move. Imagine tracking the subtle signs of seasonal change, the browning of grass, the swelling of riverbeds, or the ripening of a particular fruit, signals that dictated when to stay, move, or hunt. Australopithecus adapted to these fluctuations through mobility. Groups may have followed migrating herds of antelope, moved toward water sources in dry months, and sought out forested areas when open plains became perilous. Their understanding of the environment was practical yet sophisticated. They read the land as a living map, interpreting patterns in rainfall, vegetation, and animal behavior. Every migration, every foraging route was a calculated response to the ebb and flow of resources. Food strategies also shifted with the seasons. Fruits, nuts, and tubers were not always available, forcing early humans to diversify their diets and experiment with new sources. Hunting opportunities varied as prey moved in response to climate, prompting innovation in tracking, coordination, and tool use. Even the timing of foraging required foresight. Knowing when to dig for roots versus when to scavenge or hunt small animals could determine the success of the group. Seasonal adaptation also influenced social dynamics. Groups may have fragmented temporarily during scarcity, or come together during abundance. Sharing of food, cooperation in hunting, and protection from predators became even more vital when resources fluctuated. These patterns of movement, interaction, and resource management formed the early foundations of human strategy, combining observation, intelligence, and social cohesion. By understanding how Australopithecus adapted to seasonal rhythms, we glimpse the deep intelligence that guided early human life. Their survival was not a matter of brute force, but of anticipation, flexibility, and acute environmental awareness. Each seasonal shift was both challenge and opportunity, teaching lessons that would echo through the evolutionary journey of humankind. Survival, cooperation, and adaptation were not just daily necessities. They were engines of evolution. Over millions of years, the pressures of life on the savanna and in the forest shaped not only the body of early humans, but their minds. The demands of foraging, hunting, tool use, and social interaction gradually sculpted cognition, laying the groundwork for the remarkable intelligence that would define our species. Australopithecus relied on problem-solving skills that were practical yet sophisticated. Recognizing patterns in animal behavior, predicting the availability of food, and manipulating objects into tools all required memory, planning, and spatial awareness. Each challenge in their environment was an exercise in mental agility. Their brains, though smaller than ours, were evolving to support reasoning, innovation, and cooperation, enabling behaviors that would prove essential for survival. The use of tools further accelerated cognitive development. Selecting stones with the right edges, sharpening them, and applying them to tasks demanded foresight and understanding of cause and effect. Even the simplest tool reflected a mind capable of abstract thought, a recognition that one action could transform a raw object into something that improved chances of survival. As tool-making became more refined, so too did the neural connections that underpinned learning, memory, and dexterity. Social interactions contributed to this evolutionary leap. Cooperation in hunting and foraging required communication, attention to others' behavior, and anticipation of collective action. Early humans learned from one another, mimicked effective strategies, and gradually built shared knowledge across generations. This social learning was a powerful catalyst for cognitive growth, reinforcing the interplay between brain development and cultural transmission. Every encounter with danger, every innovation in tool use, and every coordinated effort within the group pressed the boundaries of their mental capabilities. The evolutionary pressures of 3.8 million years ago forged skills that were both survival-oriented and foundational for future advancements. Australopithecus were not just adapting physically, they were developing the intellectual tools that would one day enable language, art, and the complex societies that define humans today. In witnessing these evolutionary leaps, we see the profound connection between environment, behavior, and cognition. The challenges of their world sculpted the mind, demonstrating that survival was as much about thinking and learning as it was about strength or agility. These early humans were the architects of their own evolutionary destiny, paving the way for the extraordinary capabilities of Homo sapiens. As we step back from the dense forests, open savannas, and the resourceful lives of Australopithecus, a remarkable truth becomes clear. These early humans left a legacy that echoes through every aspect of our existence. Their daily struggles, innovations, and social bonds were not fleeting moments, but the foundation of what would eventually become the human story. Survival was not merely about enduring. It was about learning, adapting, and shaping a world that could sustain future generations. Every tool they fashioned, from sharp stones to digging sticks, was more than an object. It was a bridge between thought and action. The careful selection of stones, the precision of strikes to create cutting edges, and the use of sticks to extract roots or capture small prey reveal a mind attuned to both the present challenge and the potential of tomorrow. Each act of ingenuity expanded the boundaries of survival, demonstrating intelligence grounded in necessity and imagination alike. Social. Cooperation was another pillar of their enduring influence. By communicating through gestures, calls, and shared attention, they created networks of care and knowledge, protecting one another, sharing food, and coordinating movements against predators, strengthened group survival and sowed the seeds of culture. These early social systems highlight a profound truth. Humans are wired not just for survival, but for connection, learning, and collaboration. The pressures of environment, predators, and seasonal change also shape their cognitive development. The constant need to anticipate danger, find food, and navigate shifting landscapes nurtured resilience, creativity, and problem-solving. These mental adaptations became the foundation for future advancements in language, art, and technology, linking the intelligence of Australopithecus directly to the capabilities of modern humans. Looking back across millions of years, we see that their legacy is not just in the physical traces left behind, but in the very essence of human adaptability and curiosity. The challenges they faced, the solutions they created, and the bonds they formed continue to resonate in our lives today. Their journey reminds us that survival is intertwined with ingenuity, cooperation, and the relentless drive to understand and shape the world around us. As you reflect on the lives of our earliest ancestors, consider their courage and resourcefulness as more than history. They are lessons in resilience and creativity that still guide humanity. If this glimpse into the dawn of human life fascinates you, take a moment to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. What aspect of their survival do you find most inspiring, and how do you think it shaped who we are today?